Welcome and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for attending today's webinar, Fiber to the Home Ecosystem, Delivering Seamless Innovation with LiteLinx. We are doubling down on the fun today, as you all be graced with not just one, but two Alexes on this call. Here to present from LiteLinx is their VP of Sales, Alex Freilichman, and representing for Winncom Technologies, our very own Fiber Product Manager, Alex Cernick. If anyone has any questions throughout the presentation, please feel free to add them into the chat and they will be addressed at the end of the webinar. Alex, you are up.
I guess I can start by thanking you, Dawn. Certainly appreciate the introduction. You guys, you do have dual Alexes coming in at you today. So we've got a panel discussion talking about LiteLinx and fiber. But this is going to be a lot about what we're seeing from our end at Winncom, what LiteLinx is seeing on their end. And then what we ask, if you have any questions whatsoever, drop them in the chat and we can address them at the end of the presentation. So Alex, you want to start off this discussion? And first of which, I want to say I love your shirt, Occupy Fiber.
Ah, isn't it? I love it. So maybe what we should do is this. Maybe we should put a placeholder, whoever stays towards the end of the session. We could grab the names, do like a whatever you call that roller coaster thingy, pick a name and send free t-shirts to whoever wins it. So
I like it. I like it. I'm gonna make sure I'm putting my name in because I'd like to have one of those shirts as well. I don't know if I get an extra name potentially, but
you know, it's okay. We can figure it out. So thank you, Alex. Thank you, Don. Guys, as you know, actually, what's the funny thing that began happening today in the morning, I began receiving notifications through LinkedIn with my 1-year anniversary, and I'm like, what? It's already been 1 year? at
Congratulations.
LinkedIn. I mean, at LinkedIn, at LiteLinx. So, which is a nice surprise. So anyway, so Alex, so since you've been dealing with fiber a little bit longer, I'm a little bit less. The question is for you within your role within Winncom, when customers are typically customers and prospects approaching you, what do they typically ask you when the conversation starts about the fiber projects? Because, as you know, from wireless, it's a little bit different nuances, different questions, different regulatory environment, different money factors. So how do those conversations start with you?
Okay, a bit of a loaded question, but I'd say they come from two different places, and the questions that surround those two different application types are a little bit different. So my role here at Winncom, it's kind of dual rolled. So first, it's a fiber product manager, so working on the fiber eco center to have that kind of soup to nuts. And I've got a slide in the presentation I can kind of showcase at the end. The other one is managing the BEAD program and other programs that come out of that. And that could be rural connectivity, that could be RDOF. But I get a lot of customers, and we'll start with BEAD first, that are looking to start the process. And if you've listened to any of these other sessions, each state is a little bit further. Just about everyone, with the exception of California, has a volume 2 completed, which means there's a timer that started. States have 1 year from when NTIA ratifies the volume 2s. In that year period, they got to do a whole bunch of stuff. They've got to pick your target areas. So they've got to go through a rebuttal process, a reunification process, a challenge process. Once they have the finalized areas that are served, underserved, they then have to develop, a lot of places are calling them PAUs, the project service areas. A lot of them are just census blocks kind of grouped together, and then that's got to be approved by the NTIA. And then in parallel to that, they have to go through pre-qualification, then they've got to go through application. And again, this is all within this year time period. And then in there's going to be 1 or 2 rounds of funding. Now, long story short, where a lot of these questions are coming in, especially when we're talking about metro areas. They're looking for us to help them determine sweet spots. And there's some programs we have internally that are really unique, where we can look at, it's a QGIS database. We can identify areas that are unserved or underserved. In parallel to that, we can see where there are existing customers. We can see existing technologies. So is there a company there already providing service? Is it an MSO like a Cox or a Spectrum? Is there a fiber provider in that particular area? Is it fixed wireless being
Because
served?
this is actually pretty interesting. If the area is well served, then it might not necessarily be on the map for additional funding dollars.
Correct.
So
Big,
removing it and quickly identifying it is a key.
yeah. So the big question is, where do I target? And that's one of the things we can help them look at. And it's not only who's there pre-existing, it's what areas are listed as available for funding and what areas already had previous funding. So for example, there's a lot of RDOF out there. In some of these areas, customers didn't deploy. So some of that money is getting clawed back. So these things are changing on a daily basis. But what I would say, if you are looking to apply for BEAD funding, reach out to us. It could be through a comment here. It could be directly to Winncom at bead.com, but we can help you understand the right trajectory and the right opportunity. Now, the other aspect, and our active lines are driving this. An example would be Nokia is one of our strategic partners. They have an XGS PON solution. Now, those active solutions require passive components, and we get a lot of requests being aerial or burial, and what is the best route or path. And we work with our customers. Not only can we help them with high-end or high-level or low-level designs, which is a completely in-depth topic we could spend 30 minutes on, but in addition to that, we've got suppliers like LiteLinx and Alex here that have these best-of-breed products that work for either aerial, burial, or even drop locations. So I know I kind of went all over the place on your question, but the big thing here is adding on to that, Alex, if you don't mind, how can LiteLinx kind of help support these initiatives when customers are looking for the right direction, either aerial, burial?
Well, this is actually that's a good point. Well, obviously we have technical resources where we bring smarter guys in the room to ask the right questions on the technical side, for example, and zero down being more specific about the design, maybe even specific about the type of fiber and the construction of a fiber. There are some nuances, and there are quite a few nuances. Yes, there are some more popular choices. Let's say that something that you will have in stock, for example, the kind of let's say drop cable 2-strand or something like that, or maybe like 48-strand armored cables, something popular. Okay, it's one thing, but then there may be some unique design that is needed for a cable with the construction. Maybe they want a different kind of glass. Whatever the situation may be, this is where LiteLinx comes in with being a little bit different. We're a smaller manufacturer, we're much more nimble. We can react faster and accommodate customers at the speed that normally would be bigger manufacturers simply can't. One of the projects, for example, that we're having conversation, customers are enabling multi-dwelling units with a fiber and migrating them into fiber, and they needed custom OLT closures, custom cabling, that instead of spending several days per building, now they're spending several hours, or they can spend several hours per building, so the job can be completed a lot faster. So again, these are the perks and benefits that we can come in and make things more effective in terms of time, money, resources, and so on.
And that's one of the things I really enjoy working with you and LiteLinx is just your speed to market. You're very quick on answering questions and quotes. The buffer stock, the inventory that we carry here at Winncom Technologies. But again, that ability to be nimble, there's a whole lot going with that. So again, we definitely appreciate everything you've done to help us move into different segments.
Yeah. So that brings me to the next question. So when, since you guys do have an engineering resources, and you are the first guys in front of the customer-facing company, what are the factors that significantly impact the design as you are working through the projects? Are there any particular questions? Is there a budgetary constraints or not constraints that can drive projects go a certain way? What happens on your end?
Okay, great question. So I'll answer that in two parts. So some of the resources we have, maybe we can start there, is we have the ability to do high-level fiber designs. With all of the grant programs out there, we looked into AI as a solution. We have a program that pulls Fabric D license from CostQuest, and we'll pull that based on county information. In addition, it pulls from the GIS database, so we can see the terrain, the soil consistency. And with the use of this particular tool, it provides a high-level design. In this particular case, that would be an AI-enabled fiber spine. So if you're new to fiber, looking at targeted locations based on eligible customers, it'll develop something from scratch. If you already have something pre-existing, we can overlay that to come up with a best in breed. And this tool also incorporates cost, and it does that by looking at hybrid technologies. One of the things I see a lot of is, and I'll use the analogy of having the right tool in your toolbox. It's not all one technology. It's looking at the application and finding the right way of servicing these customers with a combination of efforts. So this is where I see fiber being a primary, but in some of the high cost areas, fixed wireless becomes prevalent. So again, using that tool, we can help you identify what is the right areas. We can compare and contrast aerial versus burial. We can look at complete project costs, estimated cost of goods sold, estimated expected revenue, and we can do that over a 10-year period. In addition to that, we have a partnership which would allow us to do low-level, component-level designs. We can put boots on the ground in all 50 states. We can do GIS mapping. It gives us, for lack of a better word, a force multiplier, project managers, OSP engineers. So again, depending on what you need, we do have a unique solution that would be able to help you get where you're trying to get.
No, that's a good point, because it's one thing if you're dealing with a company that is already familiar with the fiber, deployment, made the mistakes, learned what not to do.
Yeah.
Another thing is companies that's being introduced into fiber, and picking active components is turned out to be the easy part. It's everything else that happens in the middle. Access to the poles, outside plant, is including the architecture. It's actually quite interesting when we are having conversations with customers that have networks. and expanding to new areas is topologies that they deploy. Some people like to choose, centralized architecture. Some people choose distributor or cascading, depending on, again, what's the objective? Are you building maximum capacity, short range, metropolitan area, for example? And the cost of the project comes out to be X number of dollars. But now your capacity is protected for the next 10, 20 years. If suddenly, tomorrow someone wants to offer 10 gigabits as a standard package, these guys are ready. If in other places, the cascading architecture comes out to be more specifically in rural areas, where you can spread your capacity through the bigger area, and obviously that involves a different type of outside plant materials, slightly different cables, more maybe FOSCs, more less centralized infrastructure. So, and for that, by the way, we also introduced interesting. For that, we have an aerial splice closure that is a hybrid between splice closure and MST. It has 12 ports as well. Expansion ports for additional 12 ports. So as network is being expanded and grown, you can build your MST ports right, or OptiTaps or SC, doesn't matter, right into the aerial splice enclosure. So makes connecting new houses easy and easier and much more cost effective down the road.
That's a great point. And one of the things I try to bring up on a lot of the calls I do is fiber and bead are complicated. There are a lot of variables for each application. Each application is also different. So a lot of it being customer type. If I'm a WISP, I might not have access to right away. So aerial might not make sense in that particular scenario. If I'm a CLEC or electric cooperative, aerial is an easier kind of sell because I have access to some of these sites. So as we're talking to people, and conversations go in a lot of different ways, one of the other things I wanted to point out was we're pretty good at making things that are complicated simple. Either working through a single point of contact through your sales team here, where we've got resources that back them up on the engineering front and the design front, and the marketing side of the house. Or if we're talking about how do we as a synergy partner connect you with someone who can help, someone who could maybe look for a performance bond if we're talking about beads 25% match, or if we're talking about I am a WISP and I need someone to install the fiber and I need someone to provide those high level, low level component designs. Again, we have some capabilities internally, but we can also leverage our database of customers to help partner you with the right person that's local to your particular area. And again, bringing this full circle to LiteLinx, what I like about your product is, again, not only do you have best in breed on that OSP side, but you've added those additional fiber adjacent accessories that give you that kind of eco-center approach. So as we're talking to each one of these individual or unique customer opportunities, we can provide them that suite of products. So let me kind of change this around, Alex. Pros and cons perspective. So bringing pre-connectorized solutions, looking at labor efforts versus material cost and total project costs. Can you talk a little bit about that in LiteLinx perspective?
Oof, yeah, I can talk a lot about that actually. A splicer, a splice engineer is $200 an hour on average. So by the way, what I wanted to ask the audience is, guys, don't be shy. Send questions into a chat. Be part of this conversation. It's not just between me and AC. Today Alex earned new nickname AC. So
I've had worse. I've had worse.
But please don't be shy. Send your questions into a chat. So so pre-connected solutions. So an interesting observation, statistically speaking. One of the main reasons, well, I shouldn't say one of the reasons that cause projects to be over budget is incorrect splicing. So that needs to be redone. On average, 25 to 30% of splices on the network needs to be fixed or redone. It's a big number where you go back and have to fix it again. So and the number is relative to the number of splices that you are doing, right? So pre-connected solutions may be moreover for networks and customers and available budgets. Again, that answer should be looked as a whole, but in many instances, specifically in rural areas, actually, we see pre-connected is a lot more popular. So people are building a network with often it doesn't matter if it's underground or aerial, but they're building a network. Houses may not necessarily be connected at that time. They may be connected later, but the speed, the velocity, and ease of connecting that residence with pre-connected solution makes it a breeze. You just can't go wrong. If you choose an OptiTap, okay, great. Then you'll just bring a drop cable, whatever number of feet it is, OptiTap on one side, and whatever is on the other side connects to the house. You don't have to even bring your splicing equipment. Yeah, you have to measure the light, make sure that you have enough budget there. But again, depending on how many splices you have, an ISP has on their team, if they have splicers on the team to begin with, depending on how much capacity they're looking, pre-connected solutions become very, very popular, specifically in rural areas. So and your inventory basically speaks for itself as well, because people often come in and just say, hey, I need 100 feet of and I need it now. So that's kind of this speaks volume for that.
I like that. You said three really important things, right? It saves on time, it saves on material and labor, and it's easier from a logistic perspective to be able to fulfill those orders quick and efficiently. So that's a great point. If you are looking at any type of drop or pre-connectorize, LiteLinx has a fantastic solution, and as a stocking partner, we carry that inventory at our facility as well. Excellent. So I guess last question I would have for you is, where do you see the most room for innovation in fiber projects, and how do you think LiteLinx products can meet those future needs?
So so as you know, we come from wireless world. So 4G, LTE, 5G. For me, technology was kind of that was the whole point. So with fiber, things get a little bit more boring. So when we began looking into construction, what this network means, right? You have the product, you have the labor, you have the construction, and then we looked at issues that are related to building a network, and we see a few problems. So 75% of the projects and this number is kind of universal in North America, between USA and Canada, by the way. 75% of the projects are over budget. And that's been going on for the last 20, 30 years. Over budget means in money and in time. So then the question is, okay, so can we introduce any efficiencies into the process? Can we make things better? Can we make products better to, to be more friendlier and more efficient to be used? Is there any technology that we could introduce into the construction that can help streamline the processes, and again reduce the we call it leakages, reduced leakages on the network. So less mistakes, faster deployment, better inventory management, and so on. So this is where we have begun focusing a lot of our attention on the innovation of within our portfolio. What can we do to make things better? And as a result, you see this concept of F360, where we are introducing, if you look at LiteLinx, we are basically a 4-pillar company. We have the products as the cables, outside plant stuff. We have the cabinets, closures, again, part of the outside plant. Then we have the innovation lab, and we have the IP group, intellectual property pillar. So there's a lot of things that's happening on the background, and not everything about fiber itself. Yes, there is always innovation happens on the fiber, make it better, make it stronger, make it last longer, maybe make it lighter. There is always some interesting nuances there. But at the end of the day, outside plant engineers are normal people, guys who have jobs, who have families, who a job comes in, I need 10 miles of fiber. It needs to be done. And this particular piece of the process has quite a few causes. Is the reason why a lot of cost is being simply wasted in terms of inefficiencies and time and effort. So this is what in a nutshell, to recap, this is where our focus is. How can we reduce the leakages in the fiber construction? F360 is a big part of it. Stay tuned. We're not gonna talk about that yet, but this is what truly going to change the way that fiber networks are being deployed. And stay tuned in 2025. But on the portfolio side, again, we have our own ODF, FDH closures. So at WISPA, actually, we made an announcement with our ODF cabinet with very innovative design. If you saw the ports, they're kind of going under 45 degrees. Specific, it's really difficult to mess up cable management in that cabinet. It's so funny, and we can build a new cabinet. Everything looks, beautiful first time until you have to make changes. You have to rearrange the cables. You have to add, remove, and then it becomes the spaghetti. So because not everybody follows the same discipline of cable management. So with our technology that we introduced, it makes it very difficult to, as long as you just follow the routes, you cannot go wrong, and it's always gonna look nice. Same thing applies to, let's say, splitter trays. Very interesting, simple device, but at the same time, once you are dealing with the cabinets and you're dealing with multiple cables, you want to make sure that there is an efficient and organized way to deal with those cables. Like I mentioned, terminals, aerial terminals, they have ports for for pre-connectorized solutions, so you don't have to deploy additional equipment in the field. So those small things, they make difference. And as you continue seeing where LiteLinx is going with our technology development and how F360 is being kind of integrated into the portfolio, you will see how all of those building blocks become bigger, stronger, and more important and in a total project.
I'm excited, and honestly, I can't wait to see this next year. But that's great news. And I like the fact that you kind of bring that full circle.
Yeah, it's it's a big deal. I mean, fiber has been around for a long time, but and the issue is that building fiber networks, a lot of it is done in Excel files as well. So it's just, processes are not efficient, and so this is where we come in. Okay, changing status quo. Let's make it better. Let's improve. We see by companies embracing F360 provide significant cost reduction of the network, significant, and we see it as much as 20%. So it's a big deal in the construction, big deal, because bulk of the cost is in the construction, not in the product.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I guess one more thing I'd quickly like to share, and just for those of you who don't know, Winncom as a distributor, I think we're going on almost 30 years as a global distributor. And like Alex mentioned in the beginning, our roots are very well fastened in fixed wireless access. But as things change, right, as technology progresses, we move and change with our customers and our needs and demands. So previously, I would say 3 years ago, majority of our customers, and I say majority, I'd say 90 plus, we're looking at fixed wireless access as exclusive solutions. But as time has passed, and you could say, did BEAD have something to do with it? Did RDOF, tribal connectivity, or just the new technologies and their efficiency and the ability to offer more availability and more capacity? But our customers who were exclusive fixed wireless are now moving to hybrid approaches, or they're moving to exclusive fiber. And here at Winncom, our job, our role is, and I said keeping it simple, but it's also putting together eco centers and having strategic partners like Alex here at LiteLinx. So what you're seeing here is just a very broad overview of depth and breadth. But I would like just to take this moment to say, regardless of your opportunity, if it's comparing a LiteLinx solution to a Corning solution or a CommScope, because there's lead time and challenges associated to getting the product, or if you need help with a high-level, low-level design and you're looking for someone to kind of turnkey that entire solution, we've got that ability here, working directly and working with LiteLinx to providing best-in-breed products, but we can help you with that soup to nuts experience. So again, please engage us. Start with your account manager, bring our engineering team, myself on the line, but our goal here is to make a complicated program and process simpler.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, Alex. Well, now is the time for the
big shirt giveaway.
The giveaway, yeah, exactly. We need to run this somehow. Pick the name in the randomizer, huh?
I think first initial A, last initial C could possibly be a winner.
Well, maybe you get a shirt just because you're AC.
I wouldn't call that a randomizer, but yeah, go for it. You could do like an eeny, meeny, miny, moe approach. Like what?
Yeah, pretty much. That's how it's gonna be. I'm just copying, pasting the names into this random chooser, and the name that I'm getting is Brennan Powers.
Come on down.
So Brennan, we are going to reach out to you offline, ask for your size and address, and send you Occupy Fiber T-shirt. Thank you for not just Brandon, but everybody. Mm-hmm. Thank you for joining us, spending time. Obviously, you know our contact informations, and please reach out to Alex AC, with any additional questions, and we would like to address them if there is a maybe nuance with equipment, with the product that needs to be done, related to timing, project execution, or some hardware, some configuration of a fiber or closures. So please don't be shy. Let's bring it up. Let's understand what can we do to to make sure that project is successful, and your success means our success. We would like to earn your business.
Very well said. And just one last comment on my end. If you are thinking about looking at government funding from the BEAD program, 27 states have moved to pre-qualification. Important thing is, if you miss pre-qualification, you're not eligible to apply at the application phase. So it costs nothing to do so. We have a team of people who can help you in that regard. But again, if you think about applying, or you think it's a possibility, engage us. We can walk you through what your state's requirements look like. We can help you fill out that pre-qualification process. And then we've got systems in place, from grant writing to professional engineering, to help you as this thing progresses. So again, I want to thank Alex at LiteLinx. I want to thank our audience for your time. And I will leave it with Occupy Fiber.
That's it. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.